So I watched Late Night with the Devil yesterday. Now the trailer for the movie didn't really grab me, but I was hearing so many good things about it, so I figured I'll check it out. And I'll say this, I enjoyed the movie. Now I do think it's overrated. I've seen so many people say this is one of the best horror movies. I wouldn't go that far. I liked the movie, but I didn't love the movie. So let me start with the positives. I think the aesthetics when it comes to the time period, it did a great job when it comes to the clothes for the characters and really feeling like you're in that time period. So I think it took place in 1977 and it does a great job of really feeling like it has that 70s aesthetic. I think the lead actor was like can't remember his name. I've seen him in a bunch of other stuff where he's done supporting roles and he's always great. But I think it's the first time I see him actually in a lead role, and he does a great job. I did really love his character. He does a great job of making his character feel different when he's talking to the audience live on a talk show, where he gives off kind of the fun, good guy personality, and then you see him behind the when he go to commercials on breaks. You see how he acts different. So I think he just did a great job of showing the two different sides of the character when he's in front of the audience on the talk show and when they're taking the commercial breaks and he's off the talk show. Like he did a great job with that. And I think the whole cast was really good in this movie. And I do like the element of the story where this is really about a guy who was at the top, and then his wife dies. So the numbers for his show kind of goes down. But when he comes back, he you find out later on with the story of with the story where he's like connected to some wisp group where it deals with cult stuff from what I can tell that he made a deal to kind of get back to the top. So I like the idea of just how some people, if you like give, sometimes the cost of success of trying to make it to the top, that costs another tail. I do like that part of the storyline where it's a cost of tail about somebody who reaches to the top to be number one, but there's a cost to it. So I like that element of the story. Now the negatives with this movie is that I did feel like it was a little long. And it did get, even though I like the stuff where it's showing a commercial break and he's going behind the scenes and you see him act like a different person, it did get repetitive. And I know, you know, the it, even though I appreciate the fact that it felt like a talk show, it did feel like you were watching a talk show. It also kind of had those drawbacks where I was like, it did get repetitive when he kept going to commercial break because it did start to feel like it was getting a kind of repetitive rhythm for me. And I don't watch too many talk shows, so that might be the thing there. Like I can see people who love talk shows really love this movie. As somebody who doesn't really watch talk shows all that much, it did get a little repetitive for me personally. And the movie just felt like it didn't feel like it needed to be like the movie's only an hour and 30 minutes, so it's not a long movie, but I felt like you could have cut this movie down a little bit more. And also part of him being involved in this whisk group that is indirectly responsible for his wife's death in the movie when it comes to her cancer because he made a deal. You find out later on he indirectly made a deal with the devil for his fame to become for his show to be get to for his show to get back on top. I did feel like that part of the story, that subplot it didn't completely land for me by the end of the movie. Like the way it ends, I was like, some of this doesn't exactly make sense completely. So I'm not really the biggest fan of the ending of the movie either. And when you get to the part where the girl when you get to the part where she's possessed in the first scene, I thought that was I like that scene. But when you get to the ending where her face like splits open and there's this light, I thought the CGI kind of pulled me out of the movie personally. And it just I don't know. I would have preferred if they didn't go to CGI out there and just kind of because it just felt out of place in this movie for me. Was where it felt more practical up to that point, and it just I don't know the CGI just kind of pulled me out a little bit personally. But overall, I did enjoy this movie. It's not a movie I would call fantastic. It's not one of those movies that it's gonna end up being one of my favorite movies of the year. But I think the cast do a great job. I think the lead actor does a great job with the character. Where I did really, I did really find his character I did find his character very compelling and interesting. It did a great job with the aesthetics, feeling like the '70s. It does a great job making you feel like it is a talk show But the negatives for me is that the subplot with the cult stuff about him indirectly making a deal with the devil that cost his life, her life, that caused the death of his wife. That subplot, I didn't. It just for me didn't come together completely by the end of the movie. And I do feel like it's a movie that's too long. I think you could have trimmed this movie down, and it does get repetitive with the commercial breaks. Even though I totally understand that's the format of a talk show. So, and the CGI at the end did pull me out a little bit, where I wish they didn't go to CGI right end. When it comes to, I didn't talk about this because when it comes to the AI thing, I know this movie used like three images in the movie for like a few seconds. AI did that. Look, I'm not a fan of using AI for a movie, but I also feel like it's like any tool. Depending on how you use it. And I'll be honest, I didn't notice the AI with the images. Like to be completely honest, I didn't notice it. But yeah, I don't agree with using AI. And look, I understand the side of it that you don't want this to be a precedent where films start to use AI for more. Because I know writers are worried about AI too, and I totally get that. And I'm not a fan of using AI, but I think both sides can get a little out of control with. Like, I think both sides can go too far when it comes to where you fall on with that. So I'm just gonna say that. Like, but when it comes to the actual movie, it's just I think overall it's an enjoyable movie. It's not fantastic, like I said. I think it is an overrated movie in the sense that it's not a movie I would call like I said fantastic, but I would say check out Late Night with the Demon. It's an enjoyable movie. So that's my thoughts on Late Night with the Demon. Until next time, movie fans.